Hello.
Hello.
Shalom, boys.
Personally, big fan of the HGH mania for the last few hours.
Yes.
Me too.
The countdown was nice. I'm disappointed that Philly waited until about 5 o'clock. They should have waited till about 5:50. Made it interesting.
Yeah.
Had some entertainment, but good deal for them.
I'm disappointed. I wanted HTH to stay on Dallas.
I want to
Kid
see if his
doesn't want to
bluff
play
was
for
going to
good
get called.
teams.
And why is that?
Mm-hmm. I feel bad for Party Poopa too. He got moved to a playoff team and then got sent to Dallas with Schlemko.
Oh, extremely good. Maybe not as defensive, but
For me, at least, I think Anaheim improved quite a bit. They made a few really good trades. They made a lot of trades, actually. Let me see. They got Wadden.
yeah, I think they've overall improved. They've lost maybe a big name in Line, who was really good, but I think looking at the overall shape of the team, they've improved and likely are to make a playoff spot with how they look now. Personally, I think Tampa. I don't think Line is very happy being there, and with how they've been talking about maybe wanting to make a surprise push, which is way out, they've really kind of set themselves in a bad position for the future and actually making the playoff push. kind of a lose-lose.
Wow.
Yeah, that's worse than I thought it was.
Did anybody else have it longer than one season?
Wadden's 2 seasons. They sent out Wadden, who's a 2-season player. So.
Okay, yeah, that's yeah. They're really going for it all with what they gave away. That could be very true.
Yeah, Wadden wanted out. He did not want to play for Tampa. They both. Oh, I know Wadden for sure. I'm not so sure about Chunks, but they definitely were a bit pissed off about the French mentality in Tampa to never give up.
Yeah, and went 7-1-1 with about, I think it was about 20 points. So I mean, he shows that he can actually produce if given line mates. I think that would have been Dan and Seji for almost all of his games. So.
Oh boy.
Dan would argue he's a third liner, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely in the Western Conference.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. We're getting dead air on the stream. I think it's because your recording's muted or something.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, in the chat box, a bunch of people are trying to watch.
No sound.
Can't.
Okay, it just picked up now.
Picked up.
Okay, now it's up.
You picked it up?
Are we gonna
Yep.
have to?
If you messed it all up, damn it.
Well, there goes
Wait,
someone
I
who's
messed
muted.
up now?
No, it's good now. I'm saying before, whatever you did.
Okay, hold on. Not echoing. Is that better?
Yeah.
Does everyone stop bitching?
If they can hear you on the YouTube stream, then we're all good.
They should have heard me before.
We may have to do like a take. You may have to splice this off.
There will be a lot of splicing and fucking with this goddamn thing.
So they can hear
Yeah,
talking.
people can hear you.
Hi, Welder.
Welder said he can hear you.
Okay, this is weird. I can hear myself sliding. All right, back to the conversation.
Saying there's background noise.
That
We'll
would
check
be
the
good.
audio.
That would probably be CRV in his car.
Yeah. Do you want me to push to talk? I don't know if I can do that.
I don't know if it's Sarvi. I think it's. Hold on. Technical difficulty test.
I like the Rick DiPietro jersey though.
Thank you. He's my idol.
Yeah.
It's either coming. Mute your mic real quick, Taco.
Yep.
Yep, it's Sarvi driving.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
You can try to push to talk?
Huh?
You can attempt to push to talk, it's up to you.
I don't know how to do any settings right now.
What alerts do I have?
Yeah, it sounds like an ocean almost.
I mean, listen. I'm gonna give
I can just
credit to
unmute and
Sarvi.
mute.
Yeah, you can do that.
LG Trade Talk live from the Cancun beaches. Hear the waves rolling in.
Alright, so back to the conversation. So, I think the Sens definitely got better. I
Say
think.
we do a fresh start.
Oh, okay. Should we just restart the show?
I'd say so.
Might as well.
You might as well fucking figure it out to put it on Twitch and reschedule it for like 7 or something.
That's too much.
I mean, we're all here now. Why not just at least quickly recap what we covered, even if it's not as in depth.
Okay, welcome finally to everybody. We got all of our technical issues fixed. Welcome to LGHL PuckCast trade deadline special. I'm Vatty. With me today, I have the muted but still here Edmonton AGM, Sarvi.
Hello.
He's in Cancun right now, by the way.
We got the new Columbus Blue Jacket, Sack.
Shalom.
And we have Chicago goaltender, a Psychic Chaco.
Hello.
Well, we previously discussed some trades that we liked and we disliked. I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Psychic Taco and let him throw out a few trades that he liked.
We can go back over the HTH marathon where he traveled the world home in 60 seconds, or about 25 minutes from New York to Dallas, and back to Philly. All great places, great managers, entertaining time. Everybody had a great time in that box, including HGH, who thought he was banned and then wasn't banned. So it was pretty good.
Like I said, I'm kind of shocked he got moved to Philadelphia. But I was extremely excited to see him move to Dallas. I thought somebody was going to finally get fucked, and he got moved to Philadelphia, which I like that move for Philadelphia. But there are previous moves from that team that I did not like. Speaking more on Sam,
Like
I would
the
actually
Rahanic
do
deal.
a trade for Booyah. Yeah, I like that. Well, you like the Rahanic trade for who?
The person who got Rahanic.
Oh, Chicago, yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, Taco loves that.
Big fan. Thank you again, Karsh and either A1 Freak or Spectre, whoever did that. That was pretty nice of you.
I mean, I think one thing that you can think about, though, is Booyah hasn't had a great season, but his ESHL stats are cream of the crop. So,
Did you just throw out esports?
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean shit unless you're playing for line mates, apparently.
No, I know. It's a completely different league, and it's a different style, and you're playing against different types of players, but I think that's maybe what Philly saw in him, maybe? I don't know. Maybe they knew something that we didn't, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, he supposedly had eye surgery. But I just don't like that deal. Booyah got moved off a team that I didn't think he'd be moved off of all season in Winnipeg. And I think for most people, that should have raised some red flags. He's a first-line player. They had the cap. They were first in the division. They still are. And they're still trucking along like they didn't lose a first-line player. And then they traded away Booyah. And I think that personally raised red flags for me. But I guess Karsh maybe think Booyah can work better with them. I also did see he missed a few games on Nashville. I don't know if anyone else saw that.
I mean, there's always the potential he could, go back to what he was several seasons ago, but it's unlikely, in my opinion. It's a big risk. But I get to move Rahanic before that exploded.
Yeah, I don't like that deal. I'm not sure if I really liked trading Monster, Darpoop, and Josh away for Gun-Ass, Shekel, and Yuri.
So Yuri is pretty good in esports as well, talking about someone who's maybe a bit underrated. I mean,
yeah, but to give you a little insight of what media member Peter Talent said after he traded him, he was completely subpar on Arizona. And not only that, he's been moved a few times. So I don't know how good Yuri is. And Philly doesn't really have... I mean, they've had some D-men step up, but they didn't have that surefire first-line D-man. If Yuri can be that surefire thing, I think they're fine.
I think they want him to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody wants something to do, but with how many D-men were moved around, you kind of expected they would have waited and maybe bid on a different trade, but maybe they had to take Yuri. I mean, who knows? Are there any other trades you guys liked?
actually, The move to get Kearns to Colorado. Big fan of that. Even though he has limited avail playing on 2 leagues, I think as a backup role, with Ego Killer, one of the best goalies this season, I think that's a very good move for him.
Yeah, I really did like that deal. I think the Avalanche improved their goaltending there. Speaking more on the goaltending, another team that improved goaltending was the Anaheim Ducks, picking up Shut the Gate, and possibly, I mean, they traded a lot to get him. They took a first, a third, and still started.
But they didn't really lose any of their multi-season contract guys, which is good.
Yeah. I think Shut the Gate also will do wonders on Anaheim. And since we're on Anaheim, we might as well jump into that Tampa Anaheim deal that we were talking about before.
Yeah, that one stood out to me. I liked it for Anaheim. I think they've improved the most overall out of all the other teams. I mean, Mike on defense for depth, Wadden solid, getting rid of Drew, and unwasted for Chunks and Wadden. It's a really good deal. Wadden being on a 3 or 2 season deal. That helps quite a bit. Yeah, that's solid.
And
you can tell Wags.
500K.
Yeah, they want to try to make a run. I'm not sure they're strong enough right now to maybe get out of like a first or second round, but they definitely increased their chances after this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, let's dive into that trade because we all kind of called it a trade on Anaheim's part. Chunks 500K 1 season, Wadden 2 season, I believe. 750K. Winnipeg's first, Winnipeg's third, and Chicago's fourth got moved to Anaheim for Line, who is now known as Unwasted, and Drew X8. I think Drew X8 eventually got moved, I believe, to a different team from Tampa, but this was a huge win for Anaheim. They got probably one of the best 500K demons this season, and they got Wadden, who's been producing really well for a subpar team in Tampa. I mean, that's a team that definitely did get a lot better as Anaheim. They also picked up Dookie from Carolina, who's a solid third-line player.
As long as he's happy. If there's any issues at
That's
all,
for sure.
It turns into a serious problem for him.
I don't think they should have any issues with Dookie. He's really, I mean, they took him off of Carolina. You can't really complain if he went from a non-playoff team to a playoff team.
Well, yeah, I mean, Anaheim's contending, so, like, it's in the hands of him and everybody else that just got into Anaheim. If they want to make playoffs, like, play well in the playoffs.
True. Another deal, looking at these, the party pooper gets moved for, I believe, the third time this week. He gets moved to Dallas for St. Michel. Which I believe vastly improves Vegas's offensive capabilities. I do feel terribly bad for party pooper though.
He's asking to get saved, and he goes to Vegas, and he's all happy, and then a couple hours later, he's stuck with Schlemko.
Oh, I believe. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have no feeling, but I'm almost positive. Was he not going off on me for like a full hour?
Yeah, he was not a happy camper in Columbus.
He's not a family. But, hey, and enjoy Schlemko.
HTH should have had to enjoy Schlemko too.
That would have been fun.
I was really hoping Blumco stuck with it and gave us that privilege to watch such an entertaining thing occur. Could you imagine how big of an explosion that'd be with H2?
No comp on the deal too.
No comp.
That's crazy. The fact they got it with no comp too.
That almost makes it seem like it was meant for that kind of deal, which, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, if Schlemko's just going to go ahead and make trades that are just saying, hey, I'm going to ruin someone's season, H's season.
You should just fall for ruin the season.
Not good.
Here's another big trade I really liked. I don't like it so much for Super Saiyan and the Montreal Canadiens, but Scoop goes ahead and trades Luffy QC, who I figured was going to be on the move by deadline. They move him to Pittsburgh for C Silvereye and a second-round pick. Pittsburgh's a team I think got a lot better. I think they're not obviously better, but I think they're better in a lot of small areas, and I think that's all you really had to do in the Eastern Metro to become like a wild card team and move into the second or third spot.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. How should I put this? Nobody's out of it. There's definitely a lot of room for teams to swap and move around. Nobody should be giving up if they're in a decent position.
I do wonder from some teams. I wonder about Tampa, why they didn't sell. At some points, other things I understand. I understand keeping Master America and guys like that, but I don't understand like moving Chunks and Wadden and that many picks. That didn't make too much sense to me.
Yeah, for a trade that it doesn't even look like they won.
Well, not only did they not win, you get 3 weeks of line A if you make the first round of playoffs, and with Tampa. So let's be realistic. I believe 49, 51 points.
Yeah, 49 points, and the wild card right now is sitting at 58, I think. Yeah,
and who's
58.
that? I believe that's Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Toronto are tied in the wild card right now. Same exact record.
I mean, at doing a trade like that, I like their team. I just don't like they traded their defense.
Oh, shit. Wait, never mind. Detroit. My bad. Detroit, not Toronto. It's Detroit and Pittsburgh right now.
Oh, okay. I just don't think that Tampa's got the pieces to make the push.
Yeah.
And it kind of shocked me to make moves like that when you have some good remaining pieces coming in next season.
I agree. They're still convinced, but being 9 points out and you still have Toronto in the mix too. Even like Buffalo to a certain extent and the Capitals. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just build for next season.
And it's not like Buffalo stayed quiet either. I mean, you talk about a team that kind of made some underrated moves. I believe they made 2 moves.
And they did an okay job. I wouldn't say they made any mistakes. McLovin's.
They moved McLovin to me, so I eventually moved to the Rangers.
Can't really go.
They picked up defense. But SBDR for Pavel Bure, man, that's a wash. I think you saved cap, but maybe didn't have enough pieces to move for a bigger piece. I mean, I just don't think Tampa has the pieces to make a jump over Buffalo, let alone make a jump into the wild card.
No, I don't think they do at this point. I don't think Laine is going to really give them any extra effort to get there either.
You gotta wonder. Anaheim looked good with Line on his team. Now, I'm not going to hate on the trade or anything, but there's got to be a reason that Wags traded Line.
Yeah.
You got to wonder if there's an egotistical thing going on there.
I also think Wadden is a good pickup. I think it may have just been too good of a trade to pass.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Just, it did raise some questions there. Another team that made a lot of moves, not a lot of big moves, I would say, but they did make moves. Toronto moving Super Marquee, a third-round pick, and its King JD for Big J and Howling LOL. They also picked up Water Malam for Fricks, trading with Vancouver. But aside from that, that looks like their only real big trades they made. Aside from the other one with Philadelphia, where they traded Gunass, Shekel, and Yuri. I mean, there's a lot of teams that made moves. At the end of the day, do you guys think the standings are going to change much? Or
I don't think so in the East all that much. Maybe the Rangers get a little bit better. The Devils kind of just in place. And they did get Dangle, which is a good pickup.
They paid a lot for Dangle too.
Yeah, it's going to be. I feel like it's not going to change a whole lot in the East. Maybe Ottawa challenges Boston for that top spot. You could see maybe Florida falling behind a little bit, sitting, and it's tough to say if there's going to be any real change. There's nothing really noticeable that occurred in the East. A lot more happened in the West, especially with top teams.
Yeah, I was going to say the only teams that made big moves were the Rangers picking up McLovin. Pittsburgh reworked a lot of their third line and their second line D. And Philadelphia made some questionable trades, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could really change in that division is kind of what Taco said, just the rearrangement of some seedings. Maybe Washington or fucking Toronto can push a wild card spot. Who knows?
Yeah, it all depends on if Washington learned how to score since the deadline or not.
Yeah, 106 goals. I think that's last.
It's almost pathetic. I would say, in my honest opinion, I think the Rangers are probably going to end up on top of this division. I think it's the Devils are safe. I do think Pittsburgh is going to jump up in that third spot.
It all depends on Booyah. If Booyah plays like he used to, then we may be talking about a much better team. But if he's what he's been so far this season, you're looking at a team that could fall behind and possibly out of the playoffs. They did some good defense, though. And Shekel's not a bad forward. It's just losing Rahanic, who's really been their offensive star, is going to be tough.
Absolutely.
Definitely one of the ballsier moves.
Yeah, it happened right off the bat, too, which was kind of shocking. It was, what, that was a Wednesday deal?
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked to see them move him that quickly and not shop him a little bit more. As for the East Atlantic, I think that'll stay pretty much the same as well, like you guys were saying. The only thing I would be worried about, Detroit had one of its worst weeks, and Toronto also did as well, but they made more moves. So it'll be interesting to see if Detroit takes a free fall this week. They could find themselves out of the playoff race if they have another week like they did last week.
Yeah, this is a great week for them, especially with it being interdivision play. There's only they need to win games.
I mean, Detroit literally did second to worst to everybody in their division in their last 10 games. I mean, Detroit 3-6-1, Toronto 2-8-0. In their last 10, you got to improve, and I think that's why we saw Toronto made some interesting moves this week. But it was interesting to see Detroit stay put.
I think Detroit's in the best position as far as like on the cusp. I just feel like there's nobody behind him that's making any momentum in their division.
We have to remember, Toronto and Buffalo and Tampa all made moves this week.
But
and I mean, it'll
for the most part,
you're right.
I don't think we thought that they really won those trades.
No, they didn't. Tampa lost by a long shot. I would say Toronto might have done better.
I would say Detroit would solve all their issues if they just win their games instead of leaving it in the hands of the other teams. That's really what it comes.
Yeah. I mean, if Detroit has a hot week in any of these remaining weeks, like it's going to be really tough for any team to come behind them and steal their spot.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, they're still within 7 of Ottawa, too, and Ottawa's in second. Like, that whole top 4 in the Atlantic can just swap around with 3 weeks left. Can all just be jumbled around.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't think the top 3 are really going to slip out.
Yeah, like, I don't either, but
the wild card's the one to watch.
Speaking of Edmonton could be a wild card team this season. I just want to mention that.
Yeah, I do want to switch over to West because it was much more of an exciting Western trade deadline than it was an Eastern.
Poopy Snoopy having a wild card team. Could you imagine that? If I told you at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and you have to remember, Poopy is 1 game behind the Ducks and the Golden Knights and the Flames and the Sharks. Like, they've only played 54 games. So they still have an extra game to play. And they're only 1 point out.
Yeah.
And I honestly think Calgary got worse at the deadline.
I think they had to change their names up for sure. And I think they were short of forward as well. I don't know.
I mean, they made a trade with us that was interesting. But they acquired the Broche and Blades on 3 for T9 Gallero and RGX34.
I think
Blades on 3 is so
Broche is a reliable player. I think he'll be a good pickup for him. I don't know about Blades on 3. He's I've heard
should wait 2 times this season.
Yeah.
Shitter.
I think it's to get that the first part of that trade through.
Might as well just call up one of your AHL guys instead of getting Blades on 3. From what I've seen on
that's what I
Montreal.
was more interested to see if they were going to do. I mean, their AHL leads their current division, and it's one of the top 4 teams in the AHL. You'd expect them to be dealing a little bit more there. But I don't know. I think the Ducks got powerful enough to take a 3rd spot in the division. I think their only questions were goaltending and defense, and they revamped it all.
Yeah, the only team that's safe in the Pacific right now is the Sharks. That's about the only team you can say with certainty right now is going to make the playoffs.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, Vancouver's been struggling for back-to-back weeks. They made a couple trades, but it still has to be seen if they're actually going to make an improvement. I mean, they could probably go 5-5 for the season and probably be fine, but that'd likely bump them to a wild card spot with how hot the rest of the league's getting in the Pacific.
Yeah, I'm more or less shocked they didn't make more moves either. They did. Well, I guess they did make a few. They, I know for sure they picked up, they moved away KSW.
Yeah, they got Schwaz on Montreal. That was a big pickup.
They got LG. They got Fricks at goalie, which is a big improvement. And they got Schwartz 83. Which I believe, if I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the third line 2 seasons ago that Montreal used to get so far?
Yes.
Sauzy, Browski, and Schwartz.
Yep.
So they have that line now. Combine that with Theos and Jemima and Paulie Chunks' line. I mean, on paper now they look better. The question is if they play better. They haven't been great. Yeah, I'm very interested to see if they make the jump up and they hold their second spot. I mean,
I think they
the
will.
Pacific's a shit show.
Yeah. 4 through 7 within 5 points of each other.
That'll be a fun division to watch.
I think there's some teams in this division done, though. I hate to call them out, but like I think the Kings are done.
Yeah, that team's about done. Toxic is not happy that he wasn't traded, and I think he's gonna not really give him much help in getting wins this season.
I know publicly their third line players like Glitch Bowling, now Coho, was publicly asking to be moved. Do you think the Coyotes make a push?
With Shops' line, they have a chance. I mean, they have to play well.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Moving Gross and Amiot and picking up Sakic and Breaky, I don't know. It's going to really depend on if they can pick up those wins. I mean, and with the Oilers, I mean, you guys stayed pretty much put, Sarvi.
What's that?
You guys stayed pretty set.
Yeah, I think we swapped out Huddy, who we had, for Cooch, who's really solid, and then just a little bit of brief movement in a defenseman and a forward. Nothing major, just because we know that what we have, mostly, I think.
Did you guys feel like you had to make more moves, or did you guys feel pretty good?
No, I think we were good with what we had, and I think we were happy to have. We had an AHL player who we didn't really know about for a while, and then we had played with him, and we really liked him, and now he's on our roster, and so that made it expendable to move one of our left defensemen out and kind of help our lines out. Or with Potty and JT, we added Monster J.
Monster J is a solid player. I mean, I think he's a reliable player.
I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be right in there. I'm not going to say we're bad or good, but I think we definitely have what it takes to do it.
Yeah. Another team that made some moves, Vegas. I mean, do you think Vegas got better? Or that's a team.
A little bit. Vegas is that team to me, though, dude. Like they could get into playoffs and upset a team. They got a pretty good roster on paper all around.
Oh yeah, for sure. Are they gonna get the playoffs? I think that's the big thing, and that's what I'd be more scared of.
I think the biggest threat in that Pacific Conference is the Ducks heavily upgrading their middle to back end and stifling two positions that they had before really that were good.
I'm typing out a PM. I'll be back in a second.
Yes.
No. Sorry. I'm just fucking with you. Anything can happen, dude. 3 weeks. Personally, I just don't believe in Snoopy, but
That's fair.
you never know. That would be good for you guys. I'd be happy to see you guys make it, though.
You don't have to believe in him, but I think our team, internally, I think we're feeling really good, which is usually what can do it for a team on the cusp. And if so let's say that Anaheim kind of implodes, that opens it up for Arizona, us, Vegas. You know what I mean?
I hate to say it, but it really if you're looking at Arizona, they really have to get more out of their. And I mean, they have to get more out of their second and third line. That's the only way they make the playoffs, in my opinion.
I mean, that's the only way that any team really makes the playoffs, unless they have a fucking first line that goes 25-0-1.
I mean, but in the Metro, you could see Arizona doing better. Or the Atlantic, I would even say they could probably do better. Really, you could even say the Central. The Central has 3 teams that have been out of playoff race since, week 4?
Yeah.
So realistically, I think that I just don't know if Arizona's got the horses to really get them there. I think if Gross and Amiot would have played like they had last season when they played for St. Louis and carried them the off, by no questions asked, Arizona would have made playoffs. But I think if you really had to point fingers, I think it was the lack of production. And it doesn't. I question if K-Cut has really been trying on Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever third line is the most hot for the next 3 weeks in that division, they're going to go to playoffs because every first line on those teams is capable of winning 2-1, 3-0 every week.
I think without question, the teams with the strongest third line in that division are Vancouver and Anaheim. But I mean, San Jose's showing how you get it done with 80 fucking points. I don't know. It's gonna be fun to watch the Pacific roll out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Minnesota fall out of it too, and have.
You really think Minnesota's gonna fall out?
I mean, maybe they didn't do too much at the deadline. I mean, I could see the Pacific having an extra wild card team.
I agree with that.
I
think you should consider that. That could become a possibility. Minnesota did really sit still. I think they were trying to make moves, but the way their team's situated is they have huge contract players and then a bunch of very cheap players, which leads to having difficulties acquiring, those $3-4 million players, which are pretty good, but maybe a bit too expensive.
Well, we've been talking about that for a while. The fact that Minnesota really has had a middling third line. I honestly wonder if Minnesota would even be in a playoff race in any other division. The fact that you get to beat up on 3 non-playoff teams 6 times, giving you 36 points? By itself in the season?
Yeah. Really tough situation.
We talked about that.
They did get a good player in Berube. I think he'll turn it around a little bit. But I'd say with the 4 like McMullen or whatever his name is, and
McMullen
definitely a bit weak on the depth.
Great goal. Even their third line D doesn't look impressive.
Yeah.
What, Dagaboo, I forget who else they have.
I mean, I think if Minnesota has a mediocre week, I think they'll be on the tail end of the wild card spots. I mean, out of the freaking 4 teams in the Pacific pushing for those wild card spots, Minnesota's comfy now with that 5-point lead, but it'll be gone in 3 games if they shit the bed the first 2 days of this next week.
The one thing they do have going for them is the schedule. If I'm correct, and it's like most schedules, this next week is a division week. So Minnesota will play Nashville, Dallas, and St. Louis.
Which is good for them.
Right.
Sure.
And then in week 9, they're going to do the same exact thing. So, and just idealistically, they have an easy, 12 points coming their way?
Yeah, ish.
Minnesota, right?
Minnesota, because they're
they're all in division. I'm looking at their games. They the only out of division games they play Anaheim, which is a big game, and then they play the Kings. I think those are their 2 out of division games. So
yeah, it's gonna be a question. I mean, they're 5-4-1 in their last 10. They have not been spectacular. They haven't been all season. With Anaheim taking on the Jets like they have, and if Calgary and Vancouver keep pace up and Koopy keeps it up, I do think we could see Minnesota out of the wild card spot altogether.
I mean, I think Minnesota also heavily depends on a lot of the production from DDW too.
yeah, him and Mark on defense.
He's playing straight up Norris material. So if he has trouble any time from now until playoffs, they could really be pushing that needle.
That's true. I mean, aside from that, do you guys like any other moves teams did? Think there's a move we should discuss more, or?
What did New Jersey do? Did they make moves?
They made a few. They moved. Their first trade, I believe, of the week was with me. They moved for Dangle and Stakic, and they moved a first, 2 seconds, and John XL27L. So they kind of threw all their chips into one bag.
They're throwing all their chips, yeah. So they're looking to hopefully go far because they have a good core.
Well, I mean, if their team wouldn't have hit hiccups in week 4 and 5, that team shouldn't have traded all season long. I mean, Taco, they lost 2 games in the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, they were on fire to start the season, that was for sure.
They looked like the Stanley Cup contender that first few weeks, honestly.
But then they dropped so quietly.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at their full schedule. Recently, they've been getting a bunch of 4 and 5 win weeks, but they hit a patch after they won. I don't know how much it was, maybe 14 games, 14-2, I think. They lost 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10. They lost 10 out of 12 games at the end of week 2 and week 3. So that's where it went downhill. But since then, they've kind of maintained that 5-4 win weeks.
Is that going to be enough to get them into playoffs?
I think
Honest to God, I think it is. This is such a weak division. And not, I wouldn't even call it weak. The parity in this league is so at large this season. And I think, by far, this is the closest playoffs have been probably in the last 4 seasons.
which is great, honestly.
For sure.
I think that's amazing. I think that's exactly how we want this league to be played.
I mean, you look at it. How exciting was this trade deadline?
Very.
I mean, I was Columbus, and we hit a rough spot last week. We literally just became sellers, and the amount of teams that became sellers so late. I mean, it was a fun season for almost everyone. The only teams I would say rip to are fucking St. Louis has probably had a very rough time having fun this season, and I would say the New York Islanders.
Yeah. Carolina,
But
Montreal.
Carolina, Montreal, and yeah, but you always got teams like that.
Yeah.
You know, but you got the parity allows teams for, you know, as crazy as we think they are, Tampa Bay still thinks they have a chance.
Yeah.
Or, you know, our co-host of the show, typically Pure Talent, still thinks he's got a chance.
Right.
Or even LA could make a chance. You know, I mean, with a insane week, they could be right there in it.
And I think when you have a league that does that, you get those leading teams to feel like they feel entitled to being able to win and just get like a 6 seeding. But like if you have teams creeping up on them and playing that devil's advocate, it can really screw with like an entire playoff setup for a team that thinks they're going to be sick.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you really hands down want to discuss teams that had, you know, the upper hand coming into the season, like we just talked about New Jersey, I mean, you just saw the return that Line got. And I'm going to say Line, but it also included Psychic Taco's favorite left D man ever, Drew X8.
Oh, big fan.
But you see the return he got. And you have to remember, that was one guy on Dallas that they moved. Or not Dallas, New Jersey. New Jersey had it set so nicely because of that one draft. And I think they're probably the only team that had the best chance to bounce back after a 2-win week, you said, second? Was it a rough week?
Yeah. At the end, it wasn't in like an actual week. They started off hot, and at the end of week 2, and then all of week 3, they lost 10 out of 12. But the first half of week 2 and all of week 1, they went off. They just couldn't lose.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you think, Taco and Sarvi and second, but I think if a team that could have hit that streak could have made the bounce back, it was New Jersey.
Yeah.
Just given their team, their depth, and of course the way they started the season.
I got one question for you, by the way. Who do you?
Yeah.
Central Division. There's 3 teams, all extremely tight, all made big trades.
I mean, I would say there were 2 teams that made big trades.
Okay.
Winnipeg really didn't do much this trade deadline, I don't believe. Other than picking up 3.
It's a shame to me that out of Chicago, Winnipeg, and Colorado, 2 of those teams are going to have to play each other in the first round. And in my opinion, those 3 teams are 3 of the top 5 in the West. And
without
one's
a doubt.
one, like, for sure.
But
Maybe even 3 of the top 4. They're just
I don't think we
Colorado,
talk about them
Chicago. It's going to be a fun series if it happens.
No, the Colorado, Chicago?
Yeah, if it happens, dude. Like, honestly, I'm not a big believer in Winnipeg. And come playoff time, I think Chicago and Colorado outmatch them, in my
This
opinion.
will be a fun season for playoffs. I honestly can't wait. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more, guys, about this, and then we're going to jump into some of the new things media team's doing this season. I'm going to announce some things. At the end of the week, right now, we're 2 hours away from the start of week 7. Sakic still doesn't know when the fuck he's playing. I mean, do you guys? What are your predictions? 1 through 8 East.
For the East,
Yep. Go, Taco.
it's hard to say. Like, I can pick 8 teams. I'd say probably like divisional teams. You'd probably have New York Rangers, not the Islanders. New Jersey, and I'm going to say Philadelphia stays. The Atlantic's going to be Boston, Ottawa, and wildcard teams are Pittsburgh and Toronto. I'd say Florida falls out.
So you think Florida's completely dropping out?
I think they may fall out.
Yeah, I have a similar.
This is
theory.
it's a very bold take. Florida, by the way, for those listening, 33-17-4 with 70 points in 54 games. Detroit's behind them, 5 points behind them with 65. I just think that's a big drop.
I think they'll be a wild card team. I think Pittsburgh will end up ahead of Philly just because that's what Brando does. They always seem to gain ground at the end.
So you got Rangers, Devils, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and then probably Ottawa, Boston, Detroit, and then I'd say the Panthers and the Maple Leafs are just like a toss-up for the wild card. I think one of the team. No, probably the Panthers. They can't fall off too much. Like in 3 weeks, you already have 70 points. I don't see.
Right.
I don't know.
Sorry, what about you?
They could be losing out in this divisional week, and I believe the next week after that's the Metro matchup with them. So I think it could be a big difficult.
I think for the East, I think you got Rangers, Devils, Flyers. I think Pittsburgh pushes into a wild card spot, and then Bruins. I think the Senators are going to slow down. They're going to make it, and then Florida. But I think Ottawa's going to have a worse seeding than they think.
I mean, if you really look at it, Ottawa is only 2 points ahead of the Panthers right now. I'm going to go ahead and say I got the Rangers finishing out number 1 in the Metro. The Devils, number 2. I got the Pittsburgh Penguins at number 3. In the Atlantic, I have the Bruins at number 1. I have the Panthers at number 2. I have the Senators very, very close behind at number 3. And I would take the Senators over the Panthers, but I think the Panthers are going to face more third lines over the weeks. I have Detroit completely falling out of playoffs.
Really?
Wow.
Yes, I just don't think they made enough moves. They had a shit week. Looking more into their statistics, Detroit is 15, 9, and 3 in 1-goal games. That is 50% of their wins, and all of their and only, I would say, 45% of their losses. But with 3-6-1 in their last 10, it's going to be rough. I have Philadelphia in the wild card, and I have the Buffalo Sabres in the wild card.
Sabres.
I think they're going to make a push. I want one team out of this that's not obviously in the race to make the playoffs. I think the Sabres made enough moves. All right, Taco. The West. What do you got?
Divisional teams. No order for the sake of bias. Winnipeg, Chicago, and Colorado are the divisional teams. For the Pacific, I'm going to say San Jose, Vancouver, and Anaheim. Wild cards are going to be Calgary and Minnesota.
So you got Minnesota still making the wild card.
I think they'll be the 8th one. I think they may just hang on because they'll have enough games against Nashville, Dallas, and St. Louis to keep the record up.
All right.
You said the Ducks were within the division, right?
Yes. I think they'll swap with Calgary.
That's fair.
Sakic, what you got?
I got for divisional Blackhawks and then the Jets and Avalanche. Sharks, Canucks, and then to be honest, I think God, I don't really know. I'm gonna say that third team's gonna be the Ducks, and I want to say wild card is gonna be Flames and the Vegas Golden Knights.
Sarvi, what you got?
So I have in the Central, I got Jets, Blackhawks, Avs. I have the Wild being one of the wild cards as well, and then I've got San Jose, the Canucks, and then Ducks being in the wild card, and then obviously I got to put the Oilers third in the division. We're gonna do it.
Oilers third. 5 point
Yeah.
or 5 points back
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
With one game in hand.
Yep.
All right. Here's a bold prediction right here. I got the Chicago Blackhawks, much like Sakic does, at number 1. They finally make the jump. I got the Jets at number 2. Avalanche at number 3. I have the Sharks at number 1. I have the Canucks at number 2. I have the Ducks at number 3. I have the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers as the wild card team.
Old.
Yeah. So we got pretty much the same predictions, Fatty. It's just, what did I say? I think I said the
Wild instead of the Oilers.
Yeah.
And the Oil boys have a game in hand, and they're 6 points back of the Wild and the Flames. And I think the Wild and the Flames are going to free fall.
I think it's harder to say the Wild will free fall, but I do think that the Flames will fall. I think their third line or least productive line got worse.
Oh, by far. I honestly think the Coyotes could even jump the Flames by the end of the season.
They have the talent.
Like, just bold statement. I just think it's going to happen. Aside from that, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to announce some things real quick. Some of you guys have already heard in the media show. Most of the management has, at least. This season, the NHL will have an All-Star game. It will be put together at the end of... Well, teams will be drafted at the end of next week on a live show or pre-recorded show. We haven't really decided yet. And the teams will be picked by captains voted by the league that were nominated by their team's management. So to go ahead and announce the captain nominations for each division that you all have to choose from to lead your divisional teams, we have Sam Delisle, 9, from the Pittsburgh Penguins, Tommy Wingles from Carolina, Cheese Whiz from Philadelphia, Chewbacca from Washington, myself from the Jackets, Peridot from the Devils, and Hendry from the Rangers will be the captain nominations that everyone will be able to vote on for the Metro. the Eastern Atlantic. Captain choices are Guan from Detroit, Wei Shi from Buffalo, Bossy from the Lightning, Jack Duke from Montreal, Handle Pegas from Ottawa, and Freestyle from Toronto. Taco, you ready? What's your favorite one?
Yeah.
You're pushing for this one.
Big fan.
For the Central, we have Patalee from Chicago, Ediskog from Winnipeg, Neji from St. Louis, Spectre Gaming from Nashville, Zinc from Minnesota, and CJ from Colorado, and Schlimko from Dallas.
I don't even think there needs to be a vote for that one.
And then for the very tightly contested Western Pacific race, the captain nominations are Toxic from the Kings, Jakku from Anaheim, Jock from Arizona, Paulie Chunks from Vancouver, Sariarvi, our own media member from Edmonton, and Coach Denham from the Knights. Now, some teams you may have noticed your team wasn't named there. We haven't got nominations from 4 teams. So instead of asking for a captain, they didn't respond quick enough. We're actually going to forego any options of captains because all of the guys available okay that they be able to come onto a show and draft their divisional team. If you are on that team, though, and are interested in being the All-Star game, go ahead and shoot me a message. And I will put you in the nominations for that team. All-Star game will take place at the end of week 8. More information will be available to you at the next show. Another big announcement. Media will also be doing awards this season. So we'll have more information on that too at the end of the season. And awards will be announced at the end of whatever final game the Stanley Cup will be at. It'll be at the end of that show. So I just wanted to go ahead and make those announcements real quick. Anyone got anything to say real quick before we go ahead and sign off?
I do. I want to say, just like how John Scott got into the All-Star game a few seasons ago, vote for Batty. Vote for vote for Patalee, the French wonder. I'm just kidding. Don't vote for him. He'll just draft. I don't even know. It's just that would be entertaining.
Spencer would take it seriously, and that's probably the best part.
Yeah.
I would love to see Spencer be the captain of the Central. I think he would be a great coach and motivator on and off the ice. I mean, he's the only reason you guys have won so many games this season, right?
Yes, the sole reason. He makes the saves, makes the goals happen, gets everybody going, day in and day out. True captain. Couldn't be any better.
Sarvi, any last comments before we sign off? Nope, he's enjoying Cancun still. Sackett, what about you? You got anything else?
No, I don't think so. Aside from the fact that I don't know how Patalee's 15-3. That just shows how deep Chicago is. No offense to him, but
we do not need to make this show longer, inflating Spencer's ego. Sacco, any last comments for the show?
Oh, I'm all set.
All right, boys. Well, holy shit. Minimal technical difficulties.
so far we don't know what's to come.
Fucking did it. I haven't uploaded this bitch yet. But to all those that listen live, very appreciated. And we'll see you next week.